Go on. How many honourable mentions do you have?
I have quite a few to be fair, because some of them like just I couldn't. I hate doing these top fives or whatever. But
Yeah.
right, so honorable mentions I've got. So I put just a trilogy in because all three of these films are really good. So the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the first original. Not for you, no.
Planet Apes, zero interest. I've watched them. I've not watched the newest
Love
one.
them.
I've watched all the ones before, and I'm like, all right, Caesar, calm down. I just think I just for
No,
me,
it's so good. Like those films don't get enough love.
I can see the
I
appeal,
love
but
those.
I just think
And obviously the new one was really good. I watched that in the cinema. I went by myself. Lily didn't want to go because she doesn't like apes and monkeys.
they freak her out, especially if they're
Yeah,
talking like real
I
people.
had to go
Like,
by
yeah,
myself.
that's
Um,
funny.
but yeah, so that trilogy, Chef. I don't know if you watched the film Chef.
Chef is a great film. Yeah,
Love it.
when he makes that actually probably should be in my top five over probably one of my other ones. When he makes
Love that
the
film.
yeah, you can watch that on
Um,
Netflix. I watched that literally where he's like the Michelin star chef, but he goes and makes
yeah, and then there's
the
like the food
sandwiches.
truck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great
and
film.
there's like Cuban sandwiches, stuff like that.
Great
It's
film,
such like a
Tom.
feel good, happy film. And it's
I think I would move that onto my top five, but what would
yeah,
that replace? I think I would probably put that above Fight Club actually because
yeah.
it's a
Okay.
feel good film. Well, Fight
It's
Club makes
like
you
it
just
just makes you
panic.
happy. It makes you hungry. It makes you want to eat. And it's got like a great cast. It's got RDJ,
Yeah,
Favreau, Scarlett Johansson, um, the
Sophia
Sylvia
Vargas.
Vergara. Yep. And
Robert Downey
it's
Jr.'s in it as well. I forgot about that.
yeah, he's in it.
He's the
Like
boyfriend, isn't he?
he's a bit of a knobhead in it,
Wow.
um, but yeah, it's such a great film. It's just like it just makes you feel good. Just it's just like you go out. It's not too long as well. It's just like an hour and a half or hour 40, and
Yeah.
it's just yeah, it just makes you feel good after you watch it. So yeah,
Yeah, great.
top film.
I can't believe it. That's it. That's it. And when we made these lists, it's one of those things where you're like, you just said it before we started recording. We'll say this one and we'll be like, that is another one where I watch
Yeah,
that and I love it. It makes me want to go and cook something. It's a great
yeah,
film.
exactly. So
Honestly, that probably knocks down even Star Wars. I've watched that more than I've watched that Star Wars film. So
yeah,
that's a
like
big
it's
thing.
a film we've gone back and watched a few times. Like
Yeah,
if we ever like just like oh we don't know what to watch,
yeah.
Chef is usually there. If it's not usually on streaming sites, but if it's there, we'll watch it.
I think it's on Netflix at the moment. If you wanna,
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
if you're gonna
we
dabble
haven't
and
watched it recently, but maybe in a few weeks.
yeah. Okay. Well, before you go through your list anymore, I will match your trilogy with a soon-to-be trilogy, but it's on its way there. But the Dune films, the modern
Okay, yeah,
ones,
yeah.
I have thoroughly enjoyed them. I didn't think I would as much, but I watched the first one. I went, "This is really good." The second one,
The
fully
second
in for it.
one is like amazing.
Oh yeah, Timothy Chalamet, big fan of his.
Yeah,
And he plays the the character so well, and it's got such a stud lineup. And I just think I got out of it and I thought I can't wait for the next film. I need to read the book, and that's how good it
yeah.
was. And like very impressed by that as a trilogy.
That
Um,
the first one I had to go back and watch because when I did my first watch through, I was like,
there's
I
a lot of moving
expected
parts
more.
for sure.
I expected more from it, like 'cause I
Mhm.
thought like from the trailer and stuff like that. But once I went back and watched it, I was like, no, that's actually a very good film. It's just
Yeah,
like it's like world building. It's trying to set up the story and stuff like that. So you got to go into it in that knowing that it's not going to be like loads of action or whatever. It's not going to tie in the story. It's trying
yeah,
to build everything and bring everything together.
yeah. I really like the whole. I don't know if you call it throat singing, but sort of thing. Like that how they do the whole
The voice,
the yelling.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Great stuff. But
A great score on it as well. Just all the music and stuff is
and then
brilliant.
I'll go for another one. So what was your second one? You went for Chef. That was a really good one. I'll go for
Yeah,
another
chef.
big classic, Django Unchained.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's just a
Great film.
classic. It's just
Great
the
film.
acting in it is like you actually are like, oh my god, and it just hits you in your feels and stuff, and it's funny but serious, and it's got the
Yeah,
action, but it's got the drama.
you know the scene in that where Leo has like
Smashes
the
his,
hammer.
yeah, yeah,
Like that's like all real as well, the blood
yeah,
and stuff. Like he actually hurts himself and he just goes with it.
yeah,
And apparently, like he had a lot of issues saying like obviously
yeah. Samuel
yeah
Jackson apparently grilled him, was like,
yeah
do it, like psyching him out, which is so. Apparently, he would do a scene. I think I've seen the same interview that you're referring to, where like. Well, I think Jackson actually said that he did this. He didn't come out and tell his own story, but was like they would do a scene where he has to use the word, and then he would have to be done for the day because he couldn't look people in the eyes, which I think is mad. But like, fair enough, you know, he's a big
It's
actor.
uncomfortable work and all that sort of stuff. So
Oh yeah,
it's
and it
obviously
could
like
damage his career, like if it's
yeah.
done poor in ill taste. But go on, what's your next honourable mention?
So this one is
Not honourable.
it's a weird film, but it's just such a brilliant film. And I think like people just need to watch it. But have you watched what film Spotlight?
Spotlight. Who's in it?
So Mark Ruffalo, Michael Keaton, Rachel McAdams, Stanley Tucci. But it's not a kind of film that you.
Is it about uncovering the scandal, the child's?
Yeah, from the Christian, like the Christian.
Yeah, the cover up.
Yeah, all the cover up and around like
heavy hitter, Ben. Heavy hitter.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's not really a kind of film. It's a film you kind of get educated on rather than like you're watching it for enjoyment. But okay. I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was such a brilliant made film, and it is a film like I've gone back and watched a couple of times. But it's you've got to be in the right frame of mind to watch it. But
you've got to be into a mood of almost a little bit of learning. You want to learn about some truths and stuff.
It's really well done, and obviously like it brings to light like a true story and like this whole scandal and all this stuff. And I just think it's a very well made film. So it's obviously it's not really a film that you like go into for enjoyment, but I think it's just a very well made film.
Yeah. Go on then. Okay, so that's the third one. What's the fourth one? Another one?
Oh, so this. Have you ever watched the film The Terminal?
Oh, great film. Oh, how's that not on the list? Yeah, that's not my top 5, but unbelievable performance by Tom Hanks.
Yeah,
so good.
Like he obviously the accent, the like
the emotion with the lack of words. His performance is incredible.
There's so many scenes in that film that you just like so iconic, and it's just such a beautiful film, and like it's so like simple, just being stuck in an airport, but like it brings in so much, and like it's a great film, great film.
Like there's like and the guy, I think is how you say his name is Stanley Tucci, who's like the airport manager guy. He plays such a good villain. Like I know it's not villain particularly, but antagonist. Yeah, he's so good in it. Yeah, it's a very in your feels film, and like a feel good film because you feel sad for a bit of it because he goes through the the hard times. But I think it actually doesn't do the real story justice. I think it actually the real story, the guy who was trapped in Paris, Charles de Gaulle. I think that's where it's actually happened. He was there for way longer. I think he was there for decades, and so crazy. But great film, man, great film. So I'll go for 2 here. So Shutter Island. Great film. Again, sort of going like the Fight Club thing, where like if you can spot it before it happens, it's quite interesting. But so it's one of those films. It's one of those films where you've got to watch it. You realize it, and then you watch it again. You're like, oh my god, how did I not see it? Like, it's really in front of you.
Once you clock, you can't unclock it, sort of thing. You can see straight away if you watch it again. Like
but that's a heavier film. Like that's you got to sit down and be ready for like some like sort of a
I remember I didn't watch it for ages because like I was like obviously we were younger at this point, but I was like because I wasn't really into horror and stuff like that, and everything that I looked at it just like I didn't even want to watch it. Like, it looked scary and stuff like that, and it just it
just shows his diversity as an actor for Leo. I think it was really good, and it's just once you know the ending, you're just sort of, and you rewatch it, you're just like clear as day as like what's going on. And then another one which again is very it has uplifting moments, but it's actually a very tough watch in the sense of like sad, like being a bit sad, is Hacksaw Ridge. That's
brilliant
really
Andrew Garfield, really one of his best films he's made, to be fair.
100%, and that like detached him from doing the whole like Spider-Man guy. But I think he had broken away from that. He'd done more serious films, but an outstanding performance for sure.
Yeah, amazing, such a good film.
Go on,
he's brilliant in it.
Any more on your list? I've got an animated one coming up.
I've got one more. So I've got one more. The Martian.
Great film, Ben. What a great film. Oh yeah, definitely.
Matt Damon. Another Ridley Scott film, I think.
The Martian, great film.
And I think again, probably obviously Matt Damon's got a brilliant amount of films. Probably Good Will Hunting is his best film, but I'd say The Martian is up there with maybe like his top 5 films.
Yeah.
got a great cast.
Yeah.
And yes, it's like again, it's like kind of fantasy, that big epic kind of film, and it's obviously space is. You like the whole space thing.
It's just so well done.
Yeah, it's just a brilliant. It's just such a great film to watch.
Yeah, I do have a few more to go through if that's your last one. So one that you'll probably appreciate is Troy. Have you watched that? It's with Brad Pitt.
Love that. Again, that's like obviously like I said before.
Last Samurai. It was of the era of Last Samurai and Last Kingdom and stuff.
Yeah, they just don't make those kind of films anymore. I think like they went through that period of made like.
What do you mean great films? I agree.
And then suddenly they were just like, no, we're done with that genre now.
Yeah. But Last Kingdom was on my list as well, so when you said that, that was really good. The Martian, that's a banger. That is I can't get over that one. Sorry, I'm going back to. And then really good film, Coco.
Yeah, love it. I think that's probably this is a bit controversial, but for me, that's probably Pixar's best film.
I would say it's probably one of the, if not the best animated film I've ever watched, for sure. Like it's very, very good.
We only watched it like recently as well. We only watched it maybe like last year.
Yeah.
And absolutely loved it. Like I think I saw someone say like it's one of their favorite films. Yeah, I just never watched it. We just put it on.
The music in it just makes it like, and it's a lovely story as well. And it's actually very thought provoking. In I'm pretty sure that Lauren's parents watched it, and her dad, from watching that film, started doing a very similar tradition. So like in their house now, they have a shelf with all the family photos of grandparents and everything like that. So so it's sort of impacted. Obviously, I had it higher up in the list, but you've already mentioned it. Lord of the Rings was honourable mention, and Hobbit I put on my list. I don't know if you
got the Hobbit in there. Okay.
The Hobbit, I really enjoyed the Hobbit.
I'm not as big on the Hobbit, the Hobbit trilogy. Like,
well, I read the book, and I enjoyed. A lot of people like disassociate the enjoyment of the book and the films, but I thought it was really good.
They were good, but obviously they don't live up to the original trilogy. In my opinion, anyway.
Oh yeah, but that's because it was across 3 films, much bigger cast. Admittedly, it was a big cast in The Hobbit. I take that back slightly. Another film that I quite like, but it's not a big film, is Ford versus Ferrari with Matt Damon in as well.
Oh yeah,
and it's got Christian Bale. Yeah, people love Christian Bale, but I've
John Beffrell.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys in it. Good film.
And then my most modern one on this list, which maybe arguably not, I can't remember if this came out before or after Dune, but is Oppenheimer. I did not watch it in the cinema. I thought this is not going to be I didn't watch it. I should have.
That kind of film, I feel like you have to watch that.
Yeah, I didn't, but I've got a pretty good setup with my sound system. So like I've got like there is a lot of bass, so when you hear things like that, you can sort of hear it. And I thought this is going to be a bit weird, but really enjoyed it. Cillian Murphy is a great actor. Like, look at Peaky Blinders, look at the other stuff. I think I've seen him in some other stuff. But someone who was in it that really surprised me about how good he was, again, being an antagonist, was Robert Downey Jr. His role in it was great. I was like, damn, I want this guy to get caught. And it was nothing like I thought it was going to be. Yeah. And it was everything it should have been, which was really good. And it was everything, I did like obviously very different films, but what it was is what you wanted Napoleon to be. Like the story was so gripping. Like every turn was interesting, and everything was led to something more interesting. And that's what I thought Napoleon's thing was going to be. It was going to like his life was wildly interesting, but every turn went, what the hell are we? It was completely like the opposite turn.
Yeah, it's not like with the thing with Oppenheimer is obviously it's such a long film, but it doesn't feel like it at all. Yeah. I only watched it in the cinema. I haven't watched it since, but obviously Cillian Murphy's brilliant, and obviously like you said about RDJ. The reason people probably were surprised by that performance is because obviously all he's been doing recently is Iron Man, so you don't get that level of acting with Marvel films. Obviously, like it's not meant to be like that like stronger performance in Marvel. Not like bad about the Marvel films, but obviously like all these actors that are in these big contracts with Marvel, they don't get to do these kind of films where they get to like experiment with acting and like branch out of like proper, not like proper acting, but you kind of get what I'm trying to say. Like,
I get what you're saying, but do you know whenever I think about Robert Downey Jr., do you know what I think about? Which film? Considering how many films he's done that are great, I was thinking about I always think about Tropic Thunder.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, it's just, and I bet he I think I've seen some interviews and like about him talking about it, he's like, I don't understand what compelled me to do it. And actually,
well, I saw one with I think he was Joe Rogan was interviewing him.
Oh yeah.
And like he was saying how like he wasn't sure about it or something along those lines, and then he just thought, like, obviously Ben Stiller was like very convincing. He just thought, yeah, let's go for it. And he saw like a lot of the reviews afterwards, and he was like, all this stuff. I think a different character was hated more than his, and he was just laughing about it. The fact that he got away with it.
It wasn't a bad performance, to be honest. Like, it's just controversial, but
Yeah,
actually,
obviously.
it was laughing at, like, he wasn't actually playing a man. He was playing a white man playing a black man, and it was laughing in the face of how stupid it was. Which for me, you couldn't do it if you're not an actor. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
And he said, you've seen other people comment on it, and actually, he didn't get cancelled by it as much as I think. Maybe because who he
apparently,
is protected him. But
apparently, like a lot of his black mates said that he was great. Like
oh yeah,
they loved it and stuff like that. They didn't have an issue with it. So
yeah.
it's yeah. But I associate if it's out of Marvel, I associate him with Sherlock, the Sherlock Holmes.
He's great in the show, but he's playing a meth head in that as well. He's like great.
Yeah, but
He is
he's
not had the opportunity to show the diversity of his acting ability. I think possibly.
yeah because obviously he's just been doing Iron Man for the last like decade or just
Yeah,
Marvel films, and obviously that's why I mean like in Oppenheimer you could see the range of his acting. You could see like how brilliant of an actor he actually is.
yeah. I'm
So
just opening up his thing here, and it's literally so. Funnily enough, I've just opened up his just googled his name. So it's got Iron Man, the Avengers, Avengers Doomsday, Oppenheimer, Tropic Thunder, and Sherlock Holmes as the six
yeah,
things under his name. So, like, at least he's
I don't think he's been in like obviously
he was in
he's
a really good film, which I'm only remembering because I'm seeing it here. It's called The Judge.
yeah I was gonna
Basically,
say the one where he's the lawyer.
he's the
Yeah,
lawyer. That's a really good one. But I think he's been in
that's a
some
good.
other stuff. But it
He
just gets
was in
drowned
like
out.
he did a Doctor Dolittle, which I don't think did great.